Hi everyone, my name's Charlie and I've helped over 150 people in the UK win their PIP or ADP claims. I also receive PIP myself. For those of you that don't know, those of us in England and Wales, it's called PIP, Personal Independence Payment. Those of you in Scotland, it's called ADP, Adult Disability Payment. This is going to be the best step-by-step guide I have ever done for a PIP claim. And it doesn't matter where you are in the process, it is worth you watching this guide. I'm going to be really structured about how I do this. So for you to get the most out of this guide, have a pen, paper. If you can, print the points off. So in the description, there's a link to the website. These are the government points, not mine. There'll be a link there so you can print them off. If you don't have a printer, just get a pen and paper. And as we go through things like preparing food, you'll be able to write it down, okay? You are not going to make many notes. I'm going to help you focus on what is unique to you. That is how you win PIP. It's about current daily life. You need to be able to communicate on average what your current daily life is like. And I'm going to show you examples of that as we go through this. And throughout the process, I'm going to keep asking you questions to get you thinking about your life. That is how you win. Obviously, I'm going to help you understand the process and how to word it so that they, the DWP, get it. We need them to get it, okay? You've got to be honest throughout. Never just tell them about your worst days, because that's being fraudulent and it will cause you issues in the future. If you just tell them about your worst days, that means that when you go out, it looks like you are a liar. So stick with me, because I promise I know what I'm doing. This is really important. This is how you work out, are you entitled to this? I say PIP and ADP scars us. It can, done right, change our lives, but the process is scarring. Scar. Are you safe? Are you consistent and reliable? Every time we go through a section of PIP and ADP, I want you to write down SCAR. Am I safe? Write that at the top of your piece of paper. Okay, so I've written mine there. Before we get into the process, I want to remind you what PIP and ADP is. It's split into two sections: daily living, which has 10 sections, and mobility, which has 2 sections. We're going to go through them bit by bit, and we're going to check out the points. So these are the points for preparing food. When you go through this, you have to paint a picture of your life. This is unique to you. So if, for example, you sit down to cook, you use a microwave, so that's 2 points. You use a microwave, so that's 2 points. But you also need supervision because your ADHD is off the charts and you will wander off and leave something until you start a fire. 4 points. That's not 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not 8 points in total. They give the highest point that is relevant to you. But you can't just go for the 4 points. You have to paint the picture of what your life is like. And I will go through this in every section. We will talk about the points because everything comes back to these. You have to understand the point system. Otherwise, how can you communicate clearly? If you don't understand where you fit in this point system, how are they supposed to figure it out? It's very difficult. I'm so happy that you're watching. Before we go to the ADP part of this video, I want to explain to you the biggest mistake I see people make with this part, with this activity in PIP and ADP. The problem is, like myself included, most of us don't understand the actual distances that they're talking about. So when they ask us the questions, especially when they do the trickery side of things, we completely fall for it because we don't know how far they're talking. And the DWP are really keen on people using time. How long did it take you to do this distance? So I am going to start with ADP, but I want you to keep watching because we're going to look at how they describe walking and distances. Then we're going to do the Charlie's version of it, which I think you'll find more relatable because I actually get it. So I was thinking if I get it, hopefully you'll get it. Right, so let's get into it. Right, so what do they mean by moving around? Standing, yes, and walking. Not, I repeat, not on a hill, a slope. No, not stairs. None of that is included in this process. A lot of people, when I talk to them, will be like, well, on a hill. And I'm like, it's not about hills. This is flat ground. On stairs, no, it's not about stairs. It's flat. They are assessing us on flat ground. Okay, so make sure you've got that clear in your head. Make sure you make a note, flat ground, because I cannot tell you. It's no good talking about anything else, okay? And then they're saying, like, you know, what they mean by most days, and that's them trying to figure out the average, okay? How many feet do you have? Should be nice and easy for everyone to answer, I hope. Can you walk more than 1 meter, 2 to 3 steps most days? In my head, I'm like, can you get from your bed to the toilet? Yes or no? That's how I'd answer that question. If no, why? And that's, you know, that's going to be severe. If any of you are struggling with 2 to 3 steps, you're going to be in a different category of care. Okay. And it said in the example there, because of loss of mobility, pain, out of breath, tiredness, something else. I do have a few clients with really severe COPD. And it hasn't said here, like, it's not put condition, but I would explain condition here. If you're in that category where you can't do 2 to 3 steps consistently, or you need help, I would put due to severe and then state your condition, as well as putting, like they've said there, they're being out of breath, tiredness, etc. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but when I looked at this, I was like, first of all, I couldn't see the arrow, the length of the arrow. I was like, where the fuck is the arrow? Where's the arrow? Like, looking at the bottom picture, I was like, where is the arrow? Now, just to clarify, if you look at picture one, I'll stick an arrow on it to point to you the arrow on this picture, right? It's very difficult coming up with these distances, right? To be able to figure out how far you can walk. So let's go on to our version, Charlie's Journey's version. Let me just see what the next one is. Right, yeah, and then they're like straight into that question. We are not even ready to answer that yet. You are not ready to answer this question yet. We haven't even got there. This is what I think is more helpful. Right, 1 meter is like the length of a guitar, okay? So I've had it before where we've been in assessments with people and the assessor has gone, how long does it take you to walk 1 meter? And the person's gone, 2 minutes. And no, right. I think most of us know how big a guitar is, right? That is 1 meter. 2 meters, the length of a bed or your dining table or a 3-seater sofa. So you think about it. Now, remember everything I've said. This isn't about forcing yourself to do it. This isn't someone's life is on the line. Could you do it? And the way I explain this to people is when you stand up, do you get a pain increase? Do your symptoms of your condition get worse? If you've got COPD, is your breathing getting worse as soon as you stand up? When you take a step, what happens? Where's the pain in your body? Think about it. Is it your feet, knees, hips, shoulders, neck, ribs? Like, where's the pain? What's happening? When you start walking, what's happening to the pain? Think about it from your feet up, slowly. How do your feet feel? How are your toes? How are your ankles? How are your knees? Hips, ribs, shoulders, breathing, neck. What's happening? Think about that with all of this. Now, if you can stand up and walk and you're not even thinking about anything, your body's not hurting, I'm so happy for you. But those of us that are in pain, you need to think about it all, okay? So we know 2 meters, right? Oh no, like, sorry. So that's a 2-seater sofa, even though it shows 3-seater, that's a 2-seater sofa is 3 meters. We'll change that picture. I'm really sorry. A 3-seater sofa is 3 meters. Okay. So I'm really sorry about that. We'll change that. By the way, this is available on the website. It'll be the accurate one. We'll change that picture of that 2-seater sofa. So you can get this to refer to it as well. Okay, it's free. If you go into the description of this video, There's a link to the website, and then you click on free templates. Everything's in there, okay? 10 meters is roughly the length of a bus. Obviously, buses can be different sizes, but it's roughly the length of a bus. Okay, I am going to come back to some of these pictures, okay, when we look at the distances. 20 meters, 2 buses, okay, the length of 2 buses. So actually, let me just go to the points, right? So we're going to do it a bit different this time. We're going to start the worst. Cannot stand basically on your own and move 1 meter. Can stand and move more than 1 meter, more than the length of a guitar, but no more than 20 meters. Right, so let's check the drawings. 10 meters is 1 bus. 20 meters is 2 buses. I want you to think about it like this. You stand up, you've walked the length of a guitar, and you might be thinking, no, I feel all right. You're walking, you start at the first bus, and you're walking. How are you feeling halfway down that bus? How are you feeling when you get to the end of the first bus, the first 10 meters? Are you feeling all right? Has your pain increased? Has your fatigue got worse? Has your breathing got worse? Or are you still good to keep going? Not you have no choice. If you had a choice, would you keep going, or would you be like, fuck, I need to sit down? Okay. Let's say you sit down. Let's say you do 1 bus length and you're like, oh, I need a break. There's a nice seat there. You sit down. You rest for however long you need. Could be a couple of minutes, could be 20 minutes, could be an hour. Then you get up and you start walking again. You're at the beginning of the bus. You're halfway down the bus. Do you feel the same as when you were at the first bus before your rest break? Are you able to like be completely refreshed? Refreshed might be the wrong word, because we generally don't feel refreshed, do we? But do you feel like you're back at the beginning of your ability to walk? Or has your body saying to you, hang on a minute, I've just done 10 meters, we just walked 1 bus length, and now you want me to walk again? I know I had a rest break, but I'm not ready. We're like, what are you trying to do to me? How's your body feeling? So you're on the second bus length, you're halfway down the second bus length, you're getting to near the end of the bus. How's your body feeling? How are you feeling? Are you done? Do you need to be sitting down? Are you getting really grumpy? I don't know about you, like when my mobility is really bad, I get so grumpy because my body is in so much pain, and I go into like survival mode on I need to sit down or I need to be in bed. Like sitting down for me, so let's explain for me. First thing on the morning, I'm good. I can do this 20 meters slowly. I take longer than the average person, but I can do it on a morning, on average. It's not been a good example because the past couple of months has been shit. But normally, on average, I can do it. If it was the evening, by the time I get halfway through the first bus, I want to sit down. I need to sit down. I am not walking 20 meters. There's no way. It's probably 9 to 10 steps for me to get from my bed to the commode. And on a night, that's far. That's really far. It's a lot. There'll be times where I'll be avoiding it. And I know it is, some of you will be the same as me, where it's variable depending on the time of day. And all of us that have mobility challenges, it's going to be variable depending on the weather conditions, depending on what we did the day before that, how our meds is going, are we in flare up? I get it's variable, but you have to work out the average, okay? And again, it is not could you do it if your life was on the line or a loved one's life was on the line. It's what is your current daily life. So let's go back to the points. No more than 20 meters, no more than 2 bus lengths before you need to rest. And that rest doesn't need to be sitting down. It could be leaning on something. Quite a lot of us tend to lean on something and then we'll lift one leg up. You lift one leg off the floor then switch and lift the other foot off the floor. You might be doing some ankle twist or just trying to ease the pain. So it's any form of rest, okay? You need to be able to communicate that on your form. Let's get back to the points. So that's 12 points for that one, okay? So can stand and move using an aid, like a Zimmer frame or crutch, walking stick. We'll look at the ADP stuff for aids. More than 20 meters, but no more than 50 meters. 5 best lengths, but we couldn't fit 5 on the picture. 50 meters, half the length of a football pitch. I don't know about you, but I haven't actually spent much time on football pitches, so I get what it looks like, but I couldn't tell you like how far that is. The buses works for me. Buses works for me, but I thought I'd put a football pitch in because quite a lot of people have been to a football pitch and can relate to it. Okay, so no more than 50 meters, and this is with an aid. Then unaided, more than 2 bus lengths, but no more than 5 bus lengths or half a football pitch. Unaided can do more than 50 meters, so more than 5 bus lengths. 5 bus lengths, more. This is like your 50 meters is a breeze, yeah? Over 50 meters, over half a football pitch, but no more than 200 meters. 20 buses, 2 football pitches in length, or a distance like this. Again, this distance is not needing a break, not getting a pain increase, not struggling for breath. That's being able to do it comfortably. I think the expression comfortably suits this. Some of you will be able to do this, and you might get a pain increase, but you can still do it. And you just need to take some painkillers later, not do it too often, but you can still do it. Okay, that's great. If you're in that position, fantastic. If you are suffering whilst doing it, that's not good. And you need to communicate that. And we'll talk about aftermath as well, how you feel after you've done this level of moving around. Okay, so let's go back to the ADP. So I like I said, I don't think that is enough information for you to answer the question because it hasn't done anything about pain, fatigue, breathing, all of that. Tell us why there's a limit to how far you can walk most days. I want you to think about your life. I want you to think about what you tend to walk on a normal day, just an average day, like yesterday. Did you walk more than 1 bus length at any time yesterday? Or were you in your home and you went from bedroom to toilet, toilet to bedroom, bedroom to living room, rest, living room to kitchen, back to living room, rest, then maybe later living room to toilet, rest, toilet to living room, rest. Those distances isn't more than 1 bus length probably. Most homes aren't that big. Really think about it. Think about your life. What I find is when I'm working with clients where their condition is severe and their mobility is impacted, they've naturally adjusted so that they don't do anything that is over 2 buses. Even when they leave their home and they walk out the home, they walk down the driveway to a car, is it more than 2 bus lengths to get from your home to the car? When you get the car, maybe you go to the GP. When you park at the GP, how many bus lengths is it from the car into the GP? Then you sit in the waiting room. From the waiting room into the GP's office, it's not generally more than 1 bus length, is it? When you go to the supermarket, if you go to the supermarket, what size supermarket is it? Are you using your trolley as an aid? Are you leaning on the freezer section? I tend to sit on cat litter or cans of beer if I go in. I usually got my Zimmer frame, but before that, I would just sit on something that was sturdy. Really think about how you've adapted to your condition. And I'm sorry if this is a bit of a slap in the face, because quite often people don't realise that they've totally adjusted their life. Tell us about why there's a limit. So for me, when I explain about how rapidly I decline as the day goes on, I would say something along the lines of, because of my arthritis, I decline rapidly as the day goes on. The pain in my feet, knees, hips, and ribs increases substantially when I move around, which makes my fatigue so much worse. Tell us roughly how long it takes you to walk this far on most days. What they're trying to figure out, and they are shit at explaining this, okay? What they're trying to figure out is, are we slower than an able-bodied person? Are we slower? If yes, how much slower? Now, we don't time ourselves. None of us time ourselves. So don't fall into that trap. Do not fall into the trap of saying 30 seconds, because you don't know. You don't know. And it varies so much. What I do advise you to do is compare yourself to someone that is able-bodied. For example, I get overtaken by 90-year-olds quite often. Happens a lot. Let alone someone my age or able-bodied, younger, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. They pretty much everyone overtakes me. Okay, I'll get a rare occasion maybe in the summer where I might overtake someone else, but they've got to be pretty, like, they're probably getting PIP, you know. Think about it this way: does it take you twice as long as your family member if they were walking at normal pace? Is it like I was going to say 25% slower. So, but really it's difficult, isn't it? It's like they're twice as fast as you. We can relate to that. I'm much slower. They have to wait for me. Like, if they have to slow down to walk with me. Ideally, we want to be able to say if you're 25% slower, 50% slower, 75% slower. It'd be good if you could try and work it out that way. But that's what they're trying to figure out. How much slower are you than the average person? Okay. And I think with that, go with whatever explanation you feel comfortable with. You have to be able to explain this. Really important. After you've walked this distance, does it change how you feel? So be blunt about how this makes you feel, and be very blunt if it takes you days to recover from something. So I don't want you to answer this and go, I could do 200 meters, but then I need to rest for 3 days. No. Or I need to rest for 3 weeks. No. This is about how far you can walk reasonably comfortably. Because a lot of us are in pain no matter what anyway, but reasonably comfortably. If you say, I can do 50 to 200 meters, but then I'm in bed for a week, that's not the right answer. This is that you can reasonably comfortably do the distance. Okay, so that might change how you answer this, all right? Things you might need. Okay, so we've got walking sticks. There's a lot of us that are in a position where walking sticks is no good because of our hand pain. It hurts to hold the walking stick. Like, I never went to a walking stick because of my hand pain. This would have been so severe that absolutely I wasn't using a walking stick. I went from nothing to a Zimmer frame. By the way, this Zimmer frame they're showing here is shit. Don't get that Zimmer frame. Look at the link in the description that I've got or on my website, and there is the best Zimmer frame you're ever going to get. It's so comfy to sit on. It's really safe, and it folds up to go into a car boot. It's amazing. Okay, not one like that. Crutches. The crutches that they're using here are the really basic hospital old school crutches. There are a lot better crutches now. Ones that you can rest your forearm on. Ones with knee rests on, where you can bend your leg and rest your knee on your crutch. They look quite good. Holding on to someone. If you furniture walk, what I call the expression furniture walk. So in your own home, you're reaching out, your hands on the sofa, you're holding onto a radiator, whatever it is you're reaching out and holding onto, bedside, chest of drawers, door, anything. You need to put that in your form. You need to put it in there, okay? So make a note of that. Do you need help to stand and walk? What help do you need? Why do you need this help? Okay, so you can just explain that. How often do you need this help? Right, so this, really like this one as well, okay? Sorry, that how often, I think by the time you're watching this, you'll have watched a lot of the guide, and we know we talk about averages, so work out your averages, okay? This, do you trip or fall because of your condition? Yes. Yes. PIP, we don't get asked that. In England and Wales, we don't get asked it. If you're doing PIP, I want you to include it. If you've fallen in the past few months, I want you to include it. If you have near misses, so if you trip quite often, or you have your wobble, if you're tripping on air, I've been in that category. Air is dangerous. Make sure you include that as well. This section that we're doing, there's actually a lot from ADP that I want you to include in your PIP, okay? And it's not all on the checklist. So you've got to make sure you make these notes as you go through this. So I'd probably say if you've got mobility issues, you might have to re-watch this one and make some more notes as you go, okay? Because it's really important, especially this tripping one. You are not going to carry on an extra piece of paper, okay? You do not need extra pieces of paper to communicate our lives. For our examples, we've got the mental health and then the physical conditions. So for mental health, I'm going to say, let me give me a pen. I'm going to say they're fine, right? They can do over 200 meters. And if you're thinking, Charlie, I really struggle with depression. I can't get off the sofa. It's hard to move around. This is about the physical conditions. I've never ever seen anyone get points in this if they purely have a mental health diagnosis. It is physical conditions that then impact your walking that gets points in this section, okay? Even though I get that you struggle, some of you, your condition will be severe enough that you are struggling to move around, but it's psychological, okay? This is physical condition. I'm going to say that they can go more than 20 meters, but no more than 50 meters aided. Nice and simple with the Zimmer frame. Okay? Even though we've gone through this, I understand it's a lot. And especially those of you that are going to do a PIP form, you're going to be looking at a blank piece of paper. So I've done a checklist for everyone to use. It's free. You can go into the link into the description of the YouTube video, and there's a link to the website. Go onto the website, free templates, get the checklist, and we'll go through it now, okay? So it will help you. It will help you rather than just looking at a blank piece of paper. Okay, I'll explain. I'll show you. Number one, how often do you do this on average? So let's go to our examples. So for the mental health, that there's no issue with physical movements, you literally write no issue. I have no physical conditions that impact my mobility. That's it. That's that form done. So let's just check the checklist again. How often do you do this on average? So we are saying in this example that they actually, let me this bit bigger. Okay. In this example, that they can go more than 20 meters using a Zimmer frame, but no more than 50 meters. No more than 5 bus lengths or half a football pitch. It was half a football pitch, wasn't it? Let's just check that. Yeah, back to the checklist. How often do you do this on average? I'm able to go out every day. Why are you only able to do it that often? Okay. So let's clarify that. I'm able to go out at lunchtime. If I'm able to go out once a day at lunchtime for a short walk. See how specific I've been there. Why you're only able to do it that often? Because after I have done this walk, I have to rest for the rest of the day. What help do you have? When I go for my short walk, I always use my Zimmer frame. Check the points, right? So we know that it's definitely that one. How long does it take you and how do you feel afterwards? Nowadays, it takes me twice as long to do this distance because of the pain from my arthritis. I would clarify, I haven't written it on here, but I would clarify the worst area. So I'd say, due to the pain in my arthritis, my left knee is the worst area at the moment. How long does it take you? How do you feel afterwards? After my walk, I rest on the sofa. After my walk, I stay on the sofa for the rest of the day. Now, I don't forget that I said about that falls. If you have falls, want to include it. So generally those of us that use Zimmer frames, we've had major wobbles. So I'm going to add in, even though it's not on the checklist, I'm going to add in and say, I've fallen in the past, so I always use my Zimmer frame when I leave my home. When I'm in my home, I hold on to the furniture as I walk around my house. Number 6, is there any evidence? Yes. Now, for most people, there isn't evidence on this. At the end of this video, I'm going to put a link to the evidence guide that I've done. So watch that, because what I've oh crap, I've missed the big E. I've missed the big E, everyone. That's it. The whole guide is fucked. I haven't put the big E on it. Ugh. Right, let's pretend there's a big E for evidence beside the Zimmer frame. I did it on this one, but then I wrote it posh to take the photo for us to zoom in on. So this one, obviously, we can photograph the Zimmer frame. Okay. It would be good, like, someone to take the photograph of the person using the Zimmer frame, but it doesn't matter as long as it's a Zimmer frame in your home. Okay. And if this Zimmer frame was issued by Occupational Health, state that. Any aids or equipment given to you by Occupational Health, you must state that, because it puts you in a different category. It's obviously an independent professional that has decided you need that equipment, okay? It helps the DWP understand what category you're in. So at the end of the form, say, please refer to the additional evidence document I've attached with this form to see a photo of my Zimmer frame. Now we're done. We're definitely done.